Listen to me. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not laziness. Silence is not doing nothing. Silence is power. Every single day you wake up and you're surrounded by noise. Your phone buzzing before your feet even hit the ground, notifications flashing. The world screaming at you to look here, listen here, pay attention here. And you don't even realize it, but all of that noise is stealing from you. It's stealing your focus, it's stealing your clarity, and most importantly, it's stealing your productivity. You think you're grinding, but you're grinding in chaos, and chaos will never produce greatness. The most dangerous part of noise is it doesn't feel dangerous. It feels normal, it feels like life, it feels like being connected, but the truth is, the more noise you let in, the less of yourself you actually hear. You can't even hear your own thoughts because the volume of the world is turned up so loud. And then you wonder why you're frustrated, why you feel stuck, why you keep working but nothing is moving forward. It's because you're operating in an environment where your brain can't breathe, where your vision can't speak, where your goals can't get the silence they need to grow. Silence is the birthplace of focus. Silence is where clarity lives. Silence is where your creativity unlocks. Every breakthrough you want in life, every idea that could change everything, every solution that could take you from where you are to where you want to be is sitting inside of you right now, but you can't hear it over the noise. Think about it. The last time you had a powerful idea, the last time you finally figured out the answer, was it when you were scrolling? Was it when you were bouncing from app to app, conversation to conversation, chaos to chaos? No, it was when things got quiet. It was when you were in the shower, when you were walking alone, when you were sitting still. That's when the mind starts to work. That's when the ideas start to rise. That's when your productivity takes a leap forward. But you keep running from silence. You keep filling every gap with noise. You wake up and the first thing you do is grab your phone. You drive and you can't even sit with your thoughts because you need music blasting. You need voices in your ear. You need constant distraction. You're afraid of quiet because quiet forces you to confront yourself. Quiet forces you to hear the truth about how much time you waste, about how many excuses you make, about how far you are from the discipline you claim you want. But let me tell you, until you embrace that silence, you will never unlock your real productivity. Silence isn't just about peace, it's about power. The power to focus on one thing for as long as it takes. The power to cut through the clutter and see the path clearly. The power to block out the opinions, the criticism, the negativity that's been holding you back. When you step into silence, you take control. And when you take control, you multiply your productivity. I promise you, some of you are one season of silence away from transformation. One season of locking in without distraction, one season of cutting the noise, one season of listening only to your purpose, your plan, your grind. But you can't get there because you keep letting the noise rob you. Every ping on your phone is stealing minutes. Every gossip conversation is stealing energy. Every meaningless distraction is stealing your destiny. The great ones understand this. They use silence like a weapon. While the world is shouting, they're listening. While the world is distracted, they're focused. While the world is caught up in noise, they're building in the quiet. And when it's time to show up, when it's time to deliver, when it's time to perform, the difference is undeniable. You can't boost productivity if you can't control your environment. You can't do your best work if you're always reacting to noise. Productivity doesn't live in reaction, it lives in intention. And intention only comes when the noise dies down, when you can hear yourself, when you can lock in on what matters most. So you have a choice. Every day, every hour, every moment, you decide what you let in. You decide whether the noise wins or the silence wins. And until you choose silence, until you kill that noise, you will never know how powerful, how creative, how productive you can truly be. Listen to me. Energy is everything. You can have the best ideas, the biggest goals, the most powerful dreams, but if you don't have the energy to execute, none of it matters. And the reason so many people never see their goals become reality is not because they're lazy, not because they don't have talent, but because they never learned how to guard their energy. You give it away to anything and anybody. You let people drain you, you let distractions drain you, you let negativity drain you, and by the time it's time to do the work that matters, you've got nothing left in the tank. You've got to understand this. Every conversation is costing you something. Every notification that pops up on your phone is pulling from your focus. Every negative voice that you allow in your space is taking a piece of your energy. And if it's not pushing you forward, it's pulling you backward. There's no neutral, no middle ground. Either it's fueling you or it's draining you. And too many of you are living drained, wondering why you can't get momentum, wondering why you're tired all the time, wondering why your productivity is low. It's not your grind that's the problem, it's your leaks. You're leaking energy because you won't guard it. Energy is the most valuable currency you have. Time is important, yes, but time without energy is useless. What good is having 24 hours if you spend them tired, distracted, and unmotivated? What good is a full day if your spirit is empty because you let people steal from you before you even got started? You have to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. The quality of your life, the success of your goals, the level of your productivity, all of it depends on how well you guard your energy. You've got to stop entertaining conversations that don't serve you. You've got to stop giving your attention to things that don't build you. Some of you are exhausted not because you're working too hard, but because you're carrying people who aren't even trying to move. You're drained because you're fighting battles that aren't yours, responding to negativity that doesn't deserve your reply, feeding distractions that don't deserve your time, and every time you do that, you lose a piece of the energy you need for your purpose. Guarding your energy means being intentional about what you allow in. Who are you talking to every day? What are you watching every night? What are you scrolling through every morning? Because whether you believe it or not, all of it is feeding you or depleting you. The words you hear, the environments you stay in, the people you let close, they are either pouring into your energy or pulling from it. And if you don't filter that, if you don't control that, you will always find yourself tired, distracted, and unfocused. You've got to get to a place where you say, if it's not helping me get closer to my goals, I don't need it. If it's not building my mindset, strengthening my grind, or pushing me toward my vision, I don't want it. If it's not pushing me forward, I'm not giving it my energy. That's the discipline. That's the separation. That's the difference between people who talk about success and people who actually experience it. You've got to learn how to disconnect when you need to recharge. Stop feeling guilty for protecting your peace. Stop apologizing for saying no. Stop thinking you owe everybody your attention, your time, your emotional space. You don't, because the more you give away to the wrong things, the less you have for the right ones. And when you run out of energy, you run out of productivity. When you run out of energy, you run out of creativity. When you run out of energy, you run out of discipline. Everything falls apart when your energy is gone. Think about the times when you were at your best, when you were producing at a high level, when you were locked in and focused. It wasn't just because you had time, it was because you had energy. You felt alive, you felt driven, you felt unstoppable. That's the state you have to protect. That's the place you have to live in. But you can't live there if you keep letting distractions take your focus and negativity take your fire. Guarding your energy means you start making decisions not based on comfort, not based on habit, not based on what everybody else wants from you, but based on what fuels you. And when you start doing that, your productivity will skyrocket, because now you're working from a place of strength, not emptiness. You're producing from a place of overflow, not scarcity. You're moving with power, not fatigue. The difference between average and great is not talent. The difference is energy. The greats guard theirs, the average give it away. And until you start treating your energy like it's sacred, until you stop letting everything and everybody take from it, you will keep wondering why you don't have enough to reach the next level. Listen to me, your mind is a garden, and every single day something is being planted in it. Every conversation you have, every song you listen to, every video you watch, every word you allow in its planting seeds. And the thing about seeds is they don't ask permission. They grow whether you want them to or not. If you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life wondering why you're producing weeds when you wanted fruit. You'll wonder why your confidence is low, why your drive is weak, why your vision feels cloudy. It's because you let toxic input shape your mind, and now your life is producing what you allowed inside. What you listen to shapes what you think. That's not just a quote, that's reality. You feed your brain negativity, you'll think negative. You fill your mind with doubt, you'll act in fear. You spend hours consuming drama, gossip, mindless noise, and you'll wonder why your focus is gone, why your productivity is dead, why your goals feel impossible. It's because your output will never outgrow your input. Garbage in, garbage out. Purpose in, power out. You've got to start asking yourself, what am I feeding my mind when you wake up? What's the first voice you hear? Is it somebody complaining on social media? Is it the news feeding you fear and panic? Is it music that glorifies laziness, negativity, destruction? Or is it something that fuels you, pushes you, builds you? Because the first voice you hear sets the tone for your entire day. If you start your morning with noise, don't be surprised when the rest of your day feels chaotic. But if you start your morning with intention, with inspiration, with something that aligns with your goals, suddenly you're sharper, you're more productive, you're locked in. You can't afford to let toxic input live rent free in your head. Every time you do, it steals space from your goals. It steals energy from your grind. It steals confidence from your spirit. The wrong input will convince you to settle, to quit, to believe that average is all you can be. And if you're not intentional, you'll start to repeat the same patterns as the voices you listen to. You'll start talking like them, acting like them, living like them, and before you know it, you've built a life that doesn't even belong to you. Your mind is a filter. If you let dirt and poison run through it, you can't expect to produce clean water. If you let negativity run through it, don't expect positive results. If you let doubt run through it, don't expect bold moves. What you consume is who you become. You cannot rise higher than the input you allow. That's why you've got to kill toxic noise. You've got to cut off voices that tear you down instead of building you up. You've got to stop watching content that wastes your time and drains your focus. You've got to stop letting people speak death into your dreams, because the longer you allow that input, the harder it becomes to break free. Toxic input is sticky. It sticks to your thoughts, it sticks to your energy, it sticks to your habits. And if you don't kill it, it will kill your productivity, kill your confidence, kill your dream. But here's the flip side. When you feed your mind with purpose, driven sound, your whole life shifts. Listen to voices that inspire you, messages that stretch you, stories that prove it's possible, words that push you to keep grinding. Put input into your mind that aligns with your vision and watch what happens. Suddenly your thoughts change, and when your thoughts change, your actions change, and when your actions change, your results change. It all starts with what you allow into your mind. You've got to get intentional. Don't just consume because it's there. Don't just listen because it's trending. Don't just watch because everybody else is watching. Choose what you allow in. Build a playlist for your mind. Surround yourself with voices that challenge you, push you, remind you of who you are and what you're capable of. Spend time in silence so you can actually hear your own ideas. Fill your brain with content that fuels creativity, builds confidence, strengthens discipline. Because when your input is right, your output will blow your mind. Every successful person you've ever seen mastered this. They weren't just disciplined in their work. They were disciplined in their input. They filtered their environment. They blocked out negativity. They filled their ears with wisdom, their eyes with vision, their hearts with belief. And because of that, their productivity was unstoppable. You want to boost your productivity, you want to get to the next level, then stop letting trash feed your mind, stop letting toxic input write your story. Start feeding yourself with words, sounds, and voices that match where you're going, not where you've been. Because at the end of the day, your life will always reflect the input you choose. Listen to me. The difference between people who talk about success and the people who actually achieve it is simple discipline over distraction. Too many of you think success is about talent, about opportunity, about who you know or what resources you have. But none of that matters if you can't master discipline, because distractions are everywhere. Every single day, something is trying to pull your focus. Something is trying to break your rhythm. Something is trying to steal your productivity. And if you don't have discipline, you will always lose to the noise. You can't work harder in chaos and expect it to produce greatness. Grinding in a distracted state is not grinding, it's just moving. You're busy, but you're not productive. You're putting in hours, but you're not getting results. You're sweating, but you're not growing. Why? Because distractions have you working in circles. Distractions have you chasing the wrong things. Distractions have you thinking you're making progress, but you're actually standing still. Discipline is the weapon that cuts through chaos. Discipline is what allows you to lock in when everyone else is lost. Discipline is what says, I don't care what's happening around me. I don't care what noise is trying to pull me. I don't care what temptation is in front of me. I'm staying focused on what I came here to do. That's the mindset of winners. Winners don't have fewer distractions. Winners just refuse to let distractions win. You've got to make a decision. Am I going to live controlled by distraction, or am I going to live driven by discipline? Because you can't have both. You can't scroll for hours and then complain that you don't have time. You can't gossip about nonsense and then wonder why your vision feels blurry. You can't binge distractions and then cry about lack of productivity. Either you're disciplined or you're distracted. Either you're locked in or you're losing. Think about this. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history didn't happen because someone was smarter, richer, or luckier. They happened because someone had the discipline to sit down, focus, block out distractions, and do the work that others were too undisciplined to do. That's it. Not magic, not miracles, just raw discipline. You have to start building habits that protect your focus. That means setting boundaries. That means creating environments where distractions can't survive. That means telling yourself no when the world is telling you yes. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about freedom. Freedom from being controlled by distractions. Freedom from being pulled off course. Freedom from living your whole life busy but never productive. Right now, some of you are stuck not because you don't know what to do, but because you won't discipline yourself to do it. You keep putting it off. You keep letting distractions win. You keep thinking you'll get serious tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. Every day you give to distraction is a day you'll never get back. Every moment you lose to distraction is energy stolen from your vision, and the truth is, discipline is the only way to get it back. Discipline is choosing focus when distraction looks easier. Discipline is showing up when you don't feel like it. Discipline is telling your mind, I'm in control, not you. Because distractions will always exist. Social media isn't going away. People who want your attention for nonsense aren't going away. Temptations aren't going away. But discipline doesn't need the distractions to leave. Discipline just needs you to say no. And here's the thing, when you start choosing discipline over distraction, your productivity explodes. Because now, instead of working in chaos, you're working in clarity. Instead of doing 100 little meaningless things, you're doing the few things that actually move you forward. And when you stack those focused days on top of each other, that's when you start to see progress. That's when you start to see results. That's when you start to separate yourself from the crowd. Everybody wants success, but not everybody wants to sacrifice distractions for discipline. Everybody wants to win, but not everybody wants to say no to comfort, to laziness, to wasted time. But I'm telling you, until you learn how to choose discipline over distraction, you will always lie below your potential. Because distractions are loud, but discipline is quiet. Distractions are exciting in the moment, but discipline pays in the future. Distractions make you feel good right now, but discipline builds a life that feels good forever. So you have to ask yourself, do I want the temporary hit of a distraction, or do I want the permanent reward of discipline? Do I want to look back in 5 years and realize I wasted my energy, or do I want to look back and realize I built something that lasts? Because the choice is right in front of you every single day. Listen to me, your environment will make you or break you. You keep thinking it's just about how hard you work, how much you grind, how many hours you put in, but the truth is, your productivity is directly tied to the environment you're in. You can have the biggest goals, the strongest drive, but if you're in the wrong environment, that grind will be wasted. The wrong people, the wrong atmosphere, the wrong energy, it multiplies noise. It multiplies distraction, it multiplies doubt, and before you know it, you're not grinding with power, you're grinding with resistance, carrying weight that you don't even need to carry. You've got to protect your environment with the same intensity you protect your dream. Because whether you realize it or not, your environment is shaping you every single second. The conversations you're around, the energy you're soaking in, the standards of the people next to you that's rubbing off on you. And if you're not careful, you'll start to normalize mediocrity just because that's what your environment celebrates. You'll start to accept average because that's the energy you're surrounded by. Look around you right now. Who are you spending your time with? What are the rooms you're walking into? What's the vibe in your space? Because if your environment is full of complaining, gossiping, negativity, and excuses, don't be surprised when that starts to show up in your own life. Don't be shocked when your productivity drops. You cannot outwork a toxic environment. You cannot grind your way out of energy that keeps pulling you backward. But when you step into the right environment, everything changes. When you're surrounded by people who hold you accountable, by voices that push you, by energy that fuels you, suddenly you're sharper, you're more focused, you're more productive. The right environment doesn't drain you, it multiplies you. It takes your grind and it magnifies it. It takes your ideas and it stretches them. It takes your effort and it compounds it. Because success is not a solo sport, it's an environment sport. You have to protect your environment because not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone should have a seat at your table. Not every voice should be allowed into your space. Some of you are stuck not because you don't know how to move forward, but because you keep letting the wrong people sit next to you. You keep giving energy to people who don't want to grow. You keep spending time in spaces that don't push you. And every minute you spend, there is a minute stolen from your potential. Protecting your environment doesn't always mean cutting people off, but it does mean changing how much access they get. It means creating boundaries. It means saying, I love you, but I can't let your negativity live in my space. I respect you, but I can't let your distractions slow down my progress. I care for you, but I care for my purpose more. You've got to build an environment that matches the level you're chasing, not the level you're leaving. And it's not just about people. Your physical space matters too. If your environment is messy, chaotic, filled with distraction, don't be surprised when your mind feels the same way. Clean your space, organize your tools, create a place where your brain knows it's time to lock in, because the right environment doesn't just inspire you, it disciplines you, it sets the tone, it tells your mind, this is where we focus, this is where we create, this is where we win. The truth is, you can't reach your highest productivity if you're living in an environment that feeds your lowest habits. You can't stay focused if everything around you screams distraction. You can't stay disciplined if everyone around you celebrates laziness. The environment is stronger than your willpower. You think you're strong enough to resist it, but sooner or later, you adapt to the space you're in. And if you don't protect your environment, that space will define you. You've got to make tough choices. Do I want to stay comfortable in an environment that keeps me average, or do I want to step into an environment that forces me to grow, even if it's uncomfortable at first? Do I want to stay around people who let me off the hook, or do I want to surround myself with people who push me to be accountable, who demand excellence from me, who refuse to let me settle? Because that's the environment that multiplies results. That's the environment that produces greatness. When you protect your environment, you protect your energy. When you protect your environment, you protect your focus. When you protect your environment, you protect your productivity. And when you do that, you give yourself the best chance to maximize your potential, because now your grind isn't being wasted, it's being multiplied. Listen to me, the reason so many of you can't hear your purpose, can't feel your calling, can't produce at your highest level is because you've got too much noise in your life. Every second of the day, something is screaming for your attention. Your phone is buzzing, people are talking, the world is yelling at you to look at this, listen to that, chase this trend, get lost in that distraction. And just like headphones cancel out the chaos so you can hear the music, you've got to learn how to noise. Cancel your life so you can finally hear the beat of your own destiny. Noise is the greatest thief of productivity. Noise doesn't just take your time, it takes your mind, it steals your focus, it clutters your vision, it drowns out the whispers of purpose that are trying to guide you. You wonder why you feel lost, why you feel unmotivated, why you feel like you're moving but not moving forward. It's because your calling is speaking at a whisper, but your life is blasting at maximum volume. Until you cancel the noise, you'll never hear the signal. Noise comes in many forms. It's the negativity of people around you, always complaining, always doubting, always telling you what you can't do. It's the endless scroll on your phone, hours disappearing into content that doesn't add a single thing to your vision. It's the drama that you keep entertaining, the conversations that go nowhere, the environments that feed distraction instead of discipline. Noise is everywhere, and if you don't fight it, it will bury you under its weight. But when you noise, cancel your life, everything changes. Suddenly, the voices that matter get louder, the direction gets clearer. The path starts to make sense. You start to hear your own thoughts again, your own creativity, your own ideas. You start to lock in on the rhythm of your goals, because beneath all the chaos, there is a beat, the beat of your calling, the beat of your destiny, the beat of your greatness. And the only way to hear it is to block out everything else. Think about headphones. When you put on noise, canceling headphones, the world doesn't stop making noise. The traffic is still there. The people are still talking. The chaos is still happening. But those headphones create a barrier. They say, I don't care what's happening out there. In here, I'm focused on the beat. That's exactly how you've got to live your life. You can't control the noise of the world, but you can control what you allow in. You can create boundaries. You can build filters. You can decide, I'm not letting this energy into my space. I'm not letting this distraction into my schedule. I'm not letting this negativity into my mind. When you start living like that, your productivity explodes. Because now, you're not constantly being pulled in 100 directions. You're locked in. You're aligned. You're moving to the rhythm of your purpose, not the rhythm of chaos. And when you're locked into your own beat, you execute at a level you didn't even know was possible. Some of you are waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity, waiting for some sign to tell you it's time to go. But the sign has been here all along. It's just buried under noise. You can't hear it because you won't disconnect. You can't feel it because you won't silence the distractions. You're praying for direction, but you won't quiet the world long enough to hear the answer. You've got to get ruthless about canceling noise. Turn off the phone. Step away from conversations that go nowhere. Stop entertaining distractions that don't deserve you. Create silence so you can finally hear what's been trying to speak to you all along. The people who achieve greatness are not the ones who never faced noise. They're the ones who built lives that filtered it. They trained themselves to hear only what mattered. They put on mental noise, canceling headphones and locked into their own rhythm. And because of that, they weren't swayed by the chaos, they weren't distracted by the world, they weren't thrown off by the noise. They stayed in sync with their purpose, and that's why they were able to execute at the highest level. You've got the ability, you've got the talent, you've got the vision, but as long as you keep letting noise dominate your life, you will never access the level you were built for. Cancel it, block it. Replace it with focus, with discipline, with purpose-driven input. Protect your ears, protect your eyes, protect your environment. Because the quieter it gets on the outside, the louder it gets on the inside. That's when you'll hear it. That's when the calling becomes undeniable. That's when the productivity goes from average to unstoppable.